On today's episode of Locked On Avalanche, unbelievable. The Avalanche finally break through and get to the Western Conference Finals on the most unlikeliest of hero, and that is Darren Helm with 5 seconds left. We all thought this thing was heading back to overtime, but he breaks through with 5 seconds left to send the Avalanche to the Western Conference Final. I don't know if he is the hero or is Josh Manson, who played goalie for a hot second, if he's the hero. But I think in overall, the depth is the hero of this game for the Colorado Avalanche. We can all breathe, at least for a couple days until they do go ahead and play Edmonton. But wow, Kyle and I are going to break this thing down right now.
You're Locked On Avalanche, your daily podcast on the Colorado Avalanche. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, everybody, welcome to another episode of Locked On Avalanche, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I am your host, Chris Maselli. With me, as always, Mr. Shaggy Von Doom, Kyle Sullivan. Thank you for making this your first listen of the day. That's always appreciated. Follow the show on social media outlets, LOPN_ on Twitter, Locked On Avalanche on Instagram. Questions, comments, concerns, opinions, lockedonavalanche@gmail.com. And follow the show on our YouTube channel over on YouTube. Hit subscribe, get notified when a new show goes live. Kyle, they did it. I say they did it, and clearly I'm not making it seem like they've won and they've accomplished everything they wanted to accomplish. But we don't have to hear you guys can't get out of the second round anymore.
Yeah.
And that alone is a weight off of the shoulders of everybody associated with this team. And it was another game that was pretty much how most of these games have gone in this series. The Avalanche were in control. They were the more dominant team. And that held true for this game. And they were down again after one. And they just kept battling. They just kept fighting. They kept throwing shots on net. What they have, 39 shots on goal. So that's another solid output for putting shots on net. Give credit to St. Louis for, they held the lead. It was coming down to the wire. And I was telling Cale Makar, hold the puck when it was behind, when he was behind the net with 15 seconds left. There was line changes going on. I'm like, just stay there. And that's why he's Cale Makar and I do a podcast because he just, I think he passed it to Eric Johnson and away they go.
Yeah. And
of all people, Darren Helm, an acquisition in the off season. Once again, when these things happen again, you go back to Joe Sakic and did he know this? Did he foresee this happening? And Darren Helm pots one with 5 seconds left. Incredible. Absolutely incredible.
Everything that we felt in the game before, just that dread, that misery, that kick in the gut, that kind of hangover from the loss, and kind of oh great, the Avs are doing exactly what they always done. All of that's gone. 20 years of a weight on our shoulders of not being able to get past the second round. And not gonna lie, I shed a tear or two. You feel relief. Every heavy, just sad feeling we had is gone. And it's we're one step away from the Cup finals. There. We have to play not just another team in the Western Conference Finals, Connor McDavid and crew. Mm-hmm. If you are setting up this beautiful story that the Avalanche are, what better way, what better villain in the Western Conference than Connor McDavid?
Yeah. We'll do, obviously we have a lot of talking to do about Edmonton and everything like that, but that is a NHL dream matchup.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll talk about Edmonton and we'll do a crossover and everything with Brett down the road. When the schedule comes out, I don't know what it's going to be. Probably
It's Tuesday night at
I was
8
going to say,
o'clock.
is it Tuesday? I thought it was
Yeah.
probably be Tuesday. They already announced it's Tuesday. Okay, so we will probably do a crossover with him. But for this, I mean, it was like you said, the Avs have lost 2 games. I said that the other day. 2 games so far in this postseason, and yet the one that they most recently lost, if you want to count that or add another loss onto that, just because it felt like 2 losses, it felt like 3 losses and 1 loss, whatever. But a lot of people were thinking like, will they be able to recover from that? Can they recover from that? And I had all the confidence in the world that they could, because of and we were talking about it yesterday. This team has been through so much this season and in seasons past, and they don't forget that stuff. And all that stuff is just piled on top, and it's all of the reasons why they will get up 4 games. And I can almost guarantee you it was forgotten.
Yeah.
A lot of people say, like, how can you forget that? Like, once you get into game mode and you start warm-ups and the puck drops, that is forgotten. It's not to say, the game can't get in your head, and it clearly did for Darcy Compher at points in this game. But this is a character builder. Even at this stage in the season, you're in the second round of the playoffs, and you had that collapse, and you follow that up by going into St. Louis again.
Yeah.
Again. St. Louis did not win a game at home this series. So to turn around and do, we kept saying St. Louis has all the momentum, and they did. But and St. Louis got the first goal, which you never want to have happen. So everything is going St. Louis's way. But if you look at how they were playing, it was still, they were in control.
Yeah.
You just couldn't get anything past the goalies. And again, that credit goes to St. Louis for that. But as far as the 5-on-5 and the style of play, it was all favoring the Avs.
And you mentioned a key phrase here, the character. Like, this was not another game to catapult them to the Western Conference Finals where they had to heavily rely on Nathan MacKinnon. Like, oh, save us. We can't do this. Like, come on, Gabe, Mikko, bail us out again. 2 goals from JT Compher. Like, have yourself a game, bud.
Yeah.
And then a game winner from Darren Helm. Like, we talked about in the season, like in the series preview with Locked On Blues, about depth being it was matched up and the defense would matter. This series, the defense fell apart and the depth is what won it for us.
100% in this game, 100%.
Like, it wasn't on the poster superstars. It was JT Compher. Like, you could tell when you watch the tempo of lines like 2, 3, and 4, they put it on them. They were buzzing. They were wanting to redeem letting Nathan MacKinnon down. And you heard that in the sound clips and the blurbs. And it's one thing to say it. It's another thing to act on it. Like, in that first period, Nas had a beautiful top shelf shot that didn't go in. And when that didn't go in, you're like, okay, it's going to be one of those games where everybody's Berkey. He showed back up in the lineup tonight. Everybody's shooting like him. But it was JT Compher getting out there and having really good goals that you could see in the elation of the Selly that this team was really buying into where this team and the direction that night was heading. And like, that really fires you up. And when he got a second one, you felt invincible.
Oh man.
Because we said it on the show, when JT Compher scores, the game feels different.
Yeah, I said I think I woke up 2 kids after that JT Compher one, and then again after the Helm one. But here's all of the points for the Avs in this game. JT Compher's goal, Manson and Burakovsky with the assists. The JT Compher second goal, Byram and Taves with the assists. And the Darren Helm goal, O'Connor and Johnson with the assists. I never mentioned Mikko Rantanen. I never mentioned Gabe Landeskog. I never mentioned Nathan MacKinnon. I never mentioned Val Nichushkin. All those guys had, or Nazem Kadri.
Yeah.
Yeah, or Lehkonen. All of those guys had no points. Not ideal. Clearly, you don't want to continue that trend,
but you can do it.
There you go. You can prove like that line, that O'Connor and Helm, that was their top line.
Yeah.
They were unbelievable. They were keeping pucks in the zone, even when they would, I say turn it over, but even when they didn't really turn it over, say when St. Louis would regain possession after the puck's already been in the zone for a while, they wouldn't let up.
No.
They would forecheck and get the puck back multiple times.
Yeah.
They were out of their mind. They played, something clicked for them. We're like, okay, we've played this team 5 times now. Now let's do this, whatever it was that they figured out, because it was incredible how those guys played.
They took on the mindset that Avs fans went into Game 6 with I'm sick of seeing the Blues. Like, you mentioned they played them 5 games already. Going into your 6th, you have to be sick and tired of that style of play. And you're like, I could complain about it, or I could do something about it. And the depth did something about it.
All right. Let's hear from Athletic Greens. And then we have to, because they won, I don't want to, clearly we're happy about that, and good things happen. Some negative things happen too. They were in control for most of this game, but there were a couple bad bounces, a couple bad turnovers. We got to talk about that Darcy Compher. I don't know what that was. When Josh Manson saved the day. So, and then obviously we have a sound check to get to as well. But first, Athletic Greens, and we have been talking about this for a while. We even talked about it on yesterday's episode, and Kyle and I have been using Athletic Greens for a couple months now. Take it first thing in the morning, and for the rest of the day, you feel better. It supports your immune system, supports your energy, your recovery, your focus. And all you have to do is put a scoop of Athletic Greens into a cup of water first thing in the morning, and that is it. Nothing else. And if you're experiencing some issues within your guts and you want to kind of get it right on the insides, Athletic Greens is the way to go. And it was created when the founder experienced a ton of gut health issues, and he was spending upwards of $100 a day to recover from his gut issues. And for Athletic Greens, it costs you less than $3 a day, and you're investing in your health, and it's cheaper than your coffee and cold brew habit. So to make it easy, Athletic Greens is giving you a free 1-year supply of immune supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/NHL network. Once again, that's athleticgreens.com/NHL network. Take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. So a lot was being said on Darcy Compher, and he played a poor game in Game 5. That's going to happen. There was not going to be a goalie change. They were going to let him, redeem himself. And I think for the most part he did. That's not to say he played well. There were a couple questionable plays. Number one, that which goal was it? The Kyrou one? Maybe it was it was the Falk one, the very first one with a minute left in the first.
Yeah.
I didn't see it bounce off of anything, and Falk kind of just came into the zone freely, and he just had a ton of open space. It was straight on. Yeah. I thought that's when you got to stop. That's when you have to stop. And then the one where he was just so far out of position, he just got caught in no man's land. Maybe we should talk to our resident goalie expert in Brittany. Maybe we should reach out to her. What was he doing there? I don't know. But Josh Manson saved the day there. So overall, I thought Compher had a good game in comparison to the game prior.
It's funny you mentioned that. She has joined our Twitter spaces and said that she sees that he's having problems tracking the puck and overcompensating for that. And with those 2 goals, you kind of see that, and it's weird. I think it was maybe the first shot of the game, or maybe the second. It hit right underneath that glove, and it kind of he didn't catch it in the glove. He went up for a glove save, and it hit right underneath, which is reminiscent of that goal in Game 2 that was just so ugly that I said I'm never going to forget it, and guess what? I'm not. it was very reminiscent. You're like, oh, this is not good. And then he has that wide open, like a shot you should save, and he didn't. And then the next one that he let by was one of those like cross crease. There's a right way to play it, and he didn't.
Yeah, I
we
don't
said,
know what I I think he was just assuming whoever had that puck was going to shoot it. So I am going to overcommit to this shot.
yeah,
And when that didn't happen, he was on a water slide and he just kept going. It's like, it was bad. It was
yeah,
bad. But, the Jack Johnson play was bad too. And
yeah,
that led to the thing about it. Like everything about that was bad. You know, his the puck kind of jumped on him a little bit, but he's got to collect that puck. And then it went in the opposite direction, obviously, and led to a Blues goal. And even when it was like the 2-on-1, you kind of just felt like, all right, just put the goal on the board. You kind of just felt like this isn't gonna get stopped, and it wasn't.
yeah.
I mean, it was a nice play, and it was a nice kind of cross ice pass for the goal. That's tough for anybody to really stop. It'd be a great save if it was stopped, but you just had the mindset of like, because it was messed up from the start with the way Johnson played the puck. It was just like everything about this is wrong, and here comes a goal, and they got one. So
Yeah. And
I don't know. I feel like Johnson is he's beating himself up over that tonight, no doubt.
And we're picking apart Darcy's play because that's 2 goals on 20 shots. He did kind of stand up towards the end, and we've seen that before where lets in a goal or two, and then that's it.
Yeah.
He kind of showed a little bit of that, but with the little bit of a break that he's going to get going into the Western Conference Finals, I just wanted to say that again. Oh, it's so much fun. You would expect him to tighten it up a little bit, like it's a new foe, and it's going to be a different goalie situation that you're going to face. So maybe he gets a little bit more confidence, a little bit more rest. But yeah, you would like to see him step up a little bit.
Definitely.
This is not sustainable, especially if you go to that last round. It's not sustainable against the East.
Yep, definitely. The first JT Compher goal, I can't understate how massive that was for him, for obviously the team, but they needed some jump start. They needed something. And I didn't care where it came from. You don't get, like, at that point in the game, you just need something to get the energy going. And they had it because they were in control. But at what point are you like, all right, is any of these going to break through? And you heard Gabe Landeskog, check your microphone too. You heard Gabe Landeskog at the end of the game say, like, yeah, I mean, you got to give Husso credit, but we were just going to keep throwing shots on net. Yeah. Like, you can't just change everything up. If you are in control and you are doing what you want to do, and the only thing that's not happening is the goals are going in, you don't blow things up. And it was just, it was needed. It was timely. It was at the perfect time. And it just gave the Avalanche that little bit of jump start, because if they had given up another one right there, then maybe start pressing a little bit too much.
And yeah, there was nothing wrong with that goal. It was beautiful. And like I mentioned it before, like the reaction to it, like everybody's like evening it up with Jesse's brother. Like that's what you want to see. Mm-hmm. And you could see in his face, that second one, he believed he was getting a hat trick. Like, he had that level of confidence after that second goal when he was going off for that celly.
Hey, man. I mean, like, we thought it was coming because we've had 2 in a row. So we thought he was on deck to do it. But
Nazem Kadri, Nathan McKinnon, and Jesse's brother.
JT. Put that on a banner and raise it. I thought, even though the Avs were down 2-1 after 2, I felt good, not because they were playing well and they were, getting shots on net, but because now it's the Blues' turn to maybe tighten the grip a little bit too much.
Yeah.
When you're down, you can just fly around, throw caution to the wind, throw anything on net. And that, like, the Blues were never really in that position where they were the ones who maybe were shaken a little bit because now we have to hold the lead.
Yeah.
And that just goes to show you it's not easy to do. Even clearly their season was on the line.
Yeah.
And when you are up and it's, all right, we just have to hold for 20 minutes. We saw the other day what can happen. And I think I think it's twofold. I think it's just the Avs just kept, playing their game. And maybe, I don't know. We'll talk to the Blues guys. Maybe the Blues just were in the position the Avs were in Game 5. It's tough to play a tight game with a 1-goal lead. And I'm not saying they gave up on the end with that last shot from Helm. That was just a fantastic shot.
Yeah.
But the tables were turned in this one, and the Avs were the aggressors playing from behind. And the same outcome happened for the last 2 games for the team that was ahead after 2.
And the thing is, it was a consistent and calculated effort from the Avalanche. They won from the faceoff dot, 1 for 2 on the power play. And little fun fact here, 13 shots each period.
Even for the third, I knew it was after 2. And
it was.
And St. Louis had 7, 7, and 6. So if they got one more shot on it, it would have been 13-7 for all 3 periods. Wow.
Yeah. And Avs ended up with 39 shots, but like we were talking, like, these 39 shots look better than the 52 we had the other day. You know what I'm saying? Like, we had 52 and nothing was going in. And it was frustrating. These 39 were efficient shots. And you could tell with, like, the scoring, like, and who scored them. They're efficient shots. If you shoot efficiently, you get good goals. It doesn't matter who you are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Before we get to our sound check and hear from BetOnline, I have to give credit to Gabe Landeskog for his 71% face-off percentage. Like, that was noticeable. We say all the time, there's some people that don't care about face-offs, but they needed some timely face-offs, and Gabe Landeskog was giving them. It stood out how good he was on face-offs.
I said that in the Twitter space, that when we got that goal and we were ahead 3-2 with 5 seconds left, I said this is the most Avalanche monkey paw situation. We get the goal to go ahead and possibly go to the Western Conference Final. Oh, but you have to win a face-off.
Oh, dude, I was trust me, like, I celebrated after that Helm goal, but I was not fully celebrating until it was zeros. Even though there was 5 seconds or whatever it was, I think it was 5.3. I'm like, that's too much time. It's way too much. This needs to be at 0 before I will completely say, like, okay, they're in. They're in.
What's that Price is Right game? That's too much, Bob.
Yeah. The one where the little guy goes up the thing where you bet. Yeah. That was the Avs just falling off the end. So
that's too much, Bob.
Yeah. All right. Let's hear from BetOnline, and then we got a sound check to get to. So our partners over at BetOnline continue to be the #1 source for all of your betting needs and sports info. They had a really cool one. We get emails from BetOnline all the time, and there's odds for combinations of NBA champion and hockey champion. And the best odds were Golden State and Colorado Avalanche. So you pick 2 teams, they both got to win it. I think they were like 3-1 for those odds, but they had them all the way down for every team that's left and every combination of teams. Pretty cool stuff. So
yeah, I like that.
Yeah. You can find all the latest odds, news, and sports developments, including this year's basketball playoffs, NHL playoffs, Major League Baseball scores, all the fights, and even next year's NFL futures. BetOnline is your continued source for all of your sporting wagering information, from live betting to playoffs to esports and more. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more about the trends and the action. BetOnline.net, where the game starts. We have a sound check to do, and anybody new to the show, anytime the Avalanche play a game, win or lose, Kyle and I select a song that we feel best summarizes all of the action. And then those songs go into a playlist over on Spotify. And if you want to follow along with that, just search LOPN Soundcheck and follow along. What do you have for the Avalanche clinching their ticket into the Western Conference Final?
If you're listening, whoa.
We're going to sing it.
Yep,
All
the
right.
Sweetness, baby. We're going to the Western Conference Finals. Sweetness by Jimmy Eat World.
That's one of those songs that just is always around.
Yeah.
And whenever it's on, you never turn the station. It's like, oh, I'm just going to finish listening. It's like Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah.
Whenever Shawshank Redemption is on, you finish watching it because it's so good.
Yep.
And the Sweetness, I mean, it's not a song that's like lyrically or musically like in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. It's just a good song.
It's a vibe song. Like, you listen to it, pump yourself up for the Western Conference Finals.
Yep. For me, I'm going with a lyricless song for today, and just because of what the Avs did from Game 5 and the meltdown to turn around to go back into enemy territory and take that game and take the series, I had to go the Avengers theme song. Had to, because it just makes sure you give you like goosebumps every time it's on. I think I'm going to put the Portals version up. When they come back in Endgame, they do play the Avengers theme song in like during that whole scene. But that scene is just, the song for that scene is called Portals. But they were Avengers, man.
Yeah.
They came and they avenged.
I wish Justice League had a cool song. Well, the theme song from the animated show was pretty cool, but it's no Avengers.
No. Infinity War or Endgame? Because Infinity War. I know it's like, you can think of it as one movie, but for me, Infinity War is just so good.
I like Infinity War a little bit.
I remember being in the movie theater, and at the end when they're all just turning to dust, and it's just like one after another after another. I'm like, stop. All my heroes are dying.
It was a movie that ended like a television show cliffhanger, because you're doing all of the theories in your head on what's about to happen, and you're like, this means this and this. I like Infinity War.
Fantastic. So go check those out. All right, well, we have our map. The only series that's not done is the Rangers and the Canes.
Come on.
And if that holds true, I mean, this thing's going back to Carolina because nobody wants to win on the road in that series. So but everybody else, their tickets are punched. So we will we're talking to Brett now. And if the game is on Tuesday, probably Monday night, I would say, if our schedules can match up, maybe we'll do on Monday night for Tuesday for game 1. But and we'll get into how they've done in the season series against Edmonton, which was a little bit of a struggle. Could you ask for a better matchup if you're the NHL? I think the NHL would rather this be the Stanley Cup final.
Oh,
you have McDavid, you have McKinnon, you have Cale Makar, you have Leon Draisaitl. You can even throw Mikko Rantanen in there. I know he's not playing like everybody wants him to play, but he's still a star in the league. It's probably a ratings heaven for the NHL.
Yeah, it's honestly one of the best teams stateside and the best team in Canada. You got McDavid, McKinnon. You got like Gretzky and his lineage in Edmonton, and Sakic and Waugh in Colorado. Like,
you're gonna get a lot of those game intros where it's gonna be like the current highlights of McKinnon and McDavid, and then they're gonna splice in Gretzky and Messier and Sakic and Forbes. You're gonna get that ad nauseum.
It's gonna be wonderful.
It's going to be fun. We're not going to do any predictions or anything now because we're going to enjoy this bad boy. I got to ask you though, like I think we were kind of feeling like this thing was going into overtime. Did you have a good feeling?
Yeah.
Or did you feel like an overtime can go absolutely in any direction? But I think how St. Louis got the game tying goal that led into overtime. This was the Avalanche that got the game time goal that potentially could have led into overtime. So yeah, you felt good because you had the momentum going, but
Yeah, I did. And going into a theoretical overtime with at the time the only goal scorer being Jesse's brother. That's what I call him in the spaces, and I'll continue to call him here.
Yeah.
Like you felt like somebody was going to step up in overtime, like they weren't going to do that again, and you just felt good. And momentum was on our side. The shots, everything, stats, everything was leaning towards the Avalanche. So you felt good if it did go to overtime. Thankfully, Darren Helm left that a mystery.
I'll just throw out some things that Peter Baugh is tweeting from the press conferences. So, yeah, Josh Manson's father is an assistant with the Oilers.
That's right.
So he said his dad sent him a message pregame that said, "Go win this game so I can come see my granddaughter."
Oh,
So you gotta love that. And then Darren Helm scored on the 13-year anniversary of his overtime winner that sent Detroit to the Cup.
wow.
Crazy about that. And Darren Helm said his mother's birthday is tomorrow. So nice birthday present for her.
Happy birthday, Mama
Helm. Jared Bednar said, "I know how much these players want it. It's very hard. Hopefully our guys can take a breath and we get even better moving forward because we have to." That's maybe an understatement. And it's so weird because Edmonton was pushed to the brink with LA. It was a 7-game series. And then they turn around and they go up against, the mighty Calgary was that team that everybody wanted to pick to beat the Avalanche. And it was just like, for people do that when they don't want to pick the easy pick. That's, the number one team in a conference or in the league. They'll pick that team that's like right below them. That's still very good. But they maybe just because they don't want to go with everybody else. I get that. And I'm not saying Calgary was looking forward. I don't think they were at all. But whatever happened from Edmonton in a dogfight with a overachieving team in the Kings to going up against an excellent Calgary team and they wipe them out is surprising. So Edmonton is rolling right now. So the Avs, they have to be on their A game.
And that's why we bring up Darcy Kemper. Like, we're asking him to be better than Mike Smith.
Yeah.
Because everything we broke down when it came to depth and defense in this last series, Darcy, this is on you, bud. You got to stop pucks from Connor McDavid. We're going to be shooting on Mike Smith, but you also got to hold up.
Yeah. So we'll be back on Monday, talk about more of this awesome stuff because it's a great feeling right now, man. It's a great feeling. Right. Just there's still more to do, but after everything that they've been through with these round twos to get past it, celebrate it, but it's not over. All right. Thank you for making this your first listen of the day, everybody. That's always appreciated on this special Saturday edition. Go check out Locked On NHL. And you know what? Go check out Locked On Blues because those guys do a great job over there. And
leave them a good message, please. Good messages.
We've had a lot of Blues listeners come over to us to get like the opponent perspective and have had really good things to say about us, some good interactions with us. So thanks for that. But for our people, definitely go check them out too and get their perspective because they do an excellent job. All right, everybody, that's going to wrap it up for today. Thank you for tuning in. And he's Mr. Shaggy Von Doom, Kyle Sullivan. I'm Chris Maselli. It's the Locked On Western Conference Final Avalanche podcast. We'll see you guys Monday.